Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mondays with Moss. I'm Moss Jackson, clinical psychologist and success coach. And this is a weekly program, usually a live broadcast around 11:15 on Mondays, where I talk about strategies, actions you can take, points of view that just enable you to create and design and execute a life worth having, maybe a life quite extraordinary. So recently I've been talking, based upon one of my recent books, a notion called 52 Things You Need to Know. The book is actually called 52 Things Partners Need to Know. So the idea is each week I present an idea, a theme, and suggest that you play with it over the week, try it out. Now I'm going to give you 12 of these. This is the 7th one. And then after the 12th, I'm going to do 12. We'll see, if we want to continue, or maybe I'll focus more intensively on one of the themes. So what have I talked about so far? Getting grounded, which is getting your feet on the ground. If you're going to take a get hit, you got to get your feet on the ground so you don't get thrown off balance. Realistic optimism, being able to deal with the hard stuff now, but have a point of view that the future is going to be positive. 3, curiosity, which is a great strategy to manage getting over fear. Instead of fear, be curious. Then we did a couple sessions on conflict and conflict resolution. I think I did one with my wife. Then we did another one with my wife, Judy, on it's not personal. Don't take things too personally. That was based upon a book called The 4 Agreements. Really good little book. Don't take things personally. Then last week we talked about fear, the power, the grip of fear. And today I want to talk about courage, which is really, really pretty important. Okay, so did any of you get a chance to see the interview last night by Oprah Winfrey, talking to Harry and Meghan about moving out of England to Canada and then to California, where Meghan talked about suicidal thoughts, isolation, and the belief that's in the royal family, it seems, well, just live with it. Don't talk about it. Don't share it. Don't ask for help. And Harry talked about how stunned he was when someone from the firm, the royalty firm, whatever that means, well, how dark do you think your child is going to be? Pretty amazing, isn't it? And Meghan and Harry really broke with centuries old traditions of it stays in the family. Harry shared that he did not want to repeat history, which was the death of his mom. He probably remembers very vividly what his mom went through, the isolation and the fear and the anger, and eventually her death. And Meghan, was very honest and very transparent. I found the show quite interesting. Maybe you caught it. If not, you can catch it. Okay? So the fact is, I think, for most of us, fear paralyzes us and kills dream. It's an assassinator of our dreams. When I think back, I remember letting fear stop me a number of times, going back to my childhood. I remember in 5th grade, when I was about 10, I think, there was a real asshole of a kid. And he was kind of a bigot. I remember calling me some dirty names about my religion, and I really wanted to punch him in the face, and I didn't. We pushed a little bit, but I wanted to really hurt him, and I didn't, because I was fearful of getting hurt. There were other kids around. I felt like they would agree with him and not with me. I remember in high school having fear of asking certain girls out for dates. I had a fear of rejection. I remember in college, there was a couple classes I wanted to take, and I didn't because they were hard classes. And I think I was just afraid of failure and not doing well. And then there was a time in college, maybe when I was a junior, I had a chance to go to Cuba. Didn't have much money, but go to Cuba with my friend Paul and actually cut sugarcane. This is when Castro was just coming on the earth, beating Batista and looking for ways to keep the country alive. That seemed pretty interesting to me. But to tell you the truth, it was too far out of my comfort zone. So instead I stayed home and took a summer class. As an adult, sometimes I don't tell the truth. I don't confront people. because of fear of disapproval. So these are how fear showed up in my life. And it's interesting, I remember these. They're just vivid. So when we are afraid and we don't have the courage to act, often this stays in our mind as a regret. Okay? So what scares you? Leaving the current job you have if you're dissatisfied. Maybe you have a relationship issue with your parent, with your spouse, with a friend, with a partner, and you just don't want to talk about it because you're afraid. You don't have the skills and you're afraid. Maybe it's talking in a group, public speaking, raising your hand. According to a recent study I read, only 1 in 3, 33% of the population, have a sense of courage. 66% of us hesitate, don't take action. That's kind of the average. So what stops us? What stops us is our mind, the stories in our mind, our limiting beliefs, maybe some bad experiences. A belief that courage means you're fearless. That's a big belief. If you're fearless, then you can take courage. That's a limiting belief because it's not really true. The reason we have courage is because we're scared, but we take action anyway. Perhaps you think either you have courage or you don't, like you're born with it. Or your failure to dream big for fear of failure or ridicule, so you don't dream big and you don't take actions. It keeps you protected. So it's interesting, as children, we're raised on a diet of heroic actions. Remember Wizard of Oz, Harry Potter, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, movie recently, 1917. All stories about heroism and courage. It's not just physical bravery like that. We have Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela speaking out against injustice. Harry and Meghan saying, no more, not again. Choosing family over tradition and custom. At work, there are heroes we have who have courage. Steve Jobs, Richie Branson, Walt Disney. These are guys who took financial risks and followed their dreams. They looked at what was in their heart and they took action. So every day there are opportunities to have courage. Standing up to a bully. Getting up in class and speaking. Raising your hand and saying, I don't know the answer to that. Can you explain that to me? Racial injustice. You're in a store and you see some bigot, terrifying, being nasty to another customer. Okay, rather than waiting for the manager or someone to take care of it, do you speak up? Do we speak up? A big one where courage is necessary is acting outside your comfort zone, doing something you're not used to. Someone not wearing a mask in a store. A lot of people walking around with no mask, and we're still in the middle of an epidemic. Well, the fact is, courage can be learned and strengthened. You're not born with it. You have to develop it. You have to develop some grit. You have to learn, I can do it. Well, I'm going to try it out. If I fail, I fail. I'll keep coming back until I learn it. So I have a number of clients who have developed courage. I have a client who recently confronted what he thought was a disapproving and angry colleague for fear of disapproval. We talked about some skills, doing a soft startup. Hey, I want to run something by you. I'm concerned about something. My intention is to have a good working relationship with you, but I'm not sure if I did something or you're angry with me, can we talk about it? And it turned out great. He was so excited. She was both two people, male and female. They were both excited that they were able to confront something. I could really see it in their face. They were so happy. I had a 17-year-old who was trying to get in touch with a teacher and called the teacher 3 times with no answer. And he began to start to think, well, maybe she's angry with me. Maybe she thinks I'm foolish. Maybe she doesn't like me. But he persevered. He pushed through the fear of rejection. He got through. He did not let his story cut him off. He had courage. I have a father who challenged a deeply seated belief that kept him scared, that he needed to confront his son, but he was so terrified if he did not accommodate to his son and run to his son was going to commit suicide or do something drastic. So he got himself in a codependent relationship where he was terrified all the time. Finally, we practiced realistic optimism, being assertive, and challenging his son and saying no, and the son dealt with it. okay? I have a retired professional who lacked friends all his life, who's now taking small steps to learn social competence. He has a real fear of looking foolish because you never learn these social skills. But each time we talk, he gets a little closer. You're talking to people. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about Meghan and Harry? Just start a conversation. He was terrified that he would look stupid. I'm going through one now where courage is needed. My center, which has been in existence for 40 years, we're going through a transition, a major change. We're going to move in next, let's see, this is probably next December or January. And I'm not sure what's going to happen. But I noticed I was beginning to think, well, what if? What if people don't want to come? And what if I do it all by myself? And I said to myself, oh my God, look at that. I'm creating anxiety for myself and fear by asking, what if? I shifted to, I wonder what the best outcomes will be. What will the best out? As soon as I made that shift, all the fear went away. Okay? So what can you do to develop fear? Let's call these pathways of courage. Well, one thing, you can do one thing a day that scares you. If you have social anxiety, each day, find somebody and say, hi, how you doing? Hope you have a good day. And you may want to practice that at least once a day and do it every day. You may want to do something called the scare and courage jar. Have a jar, and each time you take action that you're afraid to do, and you have the courage to do it anyway, write it down. I was afraid to ask a question in class. I was afraid to say something at our leadership meeting. I was afraid to deal with my spouse, but I did it anyway. So it's not about how well you did it. It's just the fact that you did it. Write a note and put it in the jar. And do that for a year. You'll be surprised by the end of the year. If you make an improvement, 1% improvement a day, at the end of the year, you have improved courage by 3,500%. 3,500%. Come on, one thing a day. Another thing you can do is notice your fears, what gets in the way, especially your limiting belief. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm going to fail. I don't do things like that. It never worked before. Just write them down because they probably have to do with fear of shame, humiliation, disapproval. Just write them down so you can see them. Actually, now you need to make courage a conscious choice. Courage isn't something we're born with. We've got to learn how to do it. It's a conscious choice. The brain is wired for fear to keep us safe. The brain doesn't want us to do anything different. But if you can say, this is what I want, I'm going to take action and we'll see what's going to happen. I'm curious about it. So make courage a conscious choice. You have to create it. You have to go against the mind that says, don't do anything, just hide out. Here's a good one. Be honest with yourself about what inaction, not taking action, causes you. Like, I remember those incidents from my past. I felt shame, lost opportunity. I felt stuck. I didn't like it. It did not build my confidence. So be honest when you don't take action. Think about, if I don't take action, how am I going to feel? A real good one is carpe diem. Seize the moment. Look at what you want to do. Notice your fear, but do it anyway. Like, volunteer to present. A number of years ago, 2016, I was asked to present at RADFest, the Revolution Against Aging and Death, in front of 1,000 people, professionals from all over the world. I seized the moment. I said yes. As soon as I said yes, I got terrified because I thought to myself, what do I have to say to these people about life extension and immortality? So I figured out what I wanted to say, which was the psychology of navigating immortality. And I was scared when I got in front of a stage with 1,000 people looking at me. But I did it. I tell you the truth, I haven't even looked at the video ever again, but I felt good having known I did it, and people were really proud that I did it. So sometimes you just need to seize the day. Okay, you can always ask, what's the best thing that can happen? What's the best thing that happened today if I took that action? If I asked that question, if I were assertive, if I said to that person, hey, I'm struggling with something, I need help. or I'm bothered by something, I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. What's the best thing that could happen? Not what if it fails. Get away from what if I fail. Get into what's the best thing that can happen. That can motivate you. You may want to practice daily taking small actions. Don't go for anything big. Do it small. If you're afraid of running a marathon, of course you are if you haven't done it. So run a quarter mile, run a half mile. Gradually build up. Take 6 months, 3 to 6 months to build up your stamina. But get off your butt and do it. Find cohorts, people you know who are practicing courage, people who are taking action, people who are risk takers. Stay away from the naysayers. Get rid of the naysayers. Don't talk to them. They'll keep you locked in and stuck. So bottom line, creating change in your life takes courage. And it's like kind of getting a 747 jet off the air. It takes a lot of energy to build momentum and get airborne. But man, once you're up there, you're going places. Courage is a learned skill and habit. You're not born with it. You got to practice it. If you want to accomplish things that are important to you, anything big, you're going to have fear because it's going to take you out of your comfort zone. So you have to learn courage. Best way to learn courage is have your fear, do it anyway. Building courage requires daily practice. Just little actions you can take. And saying hello to a stranger. Keep a courage jar, like I say. Write down something you're afraid of, what you did, write it down on a little card, drop it in the jar, and then whenever in the future you want to take action about something else and you have some concerns, go back to your courage jar and open it up and say, wow, look at all the things I've done over the last month. All right, so this week, here's your action. Here's my suggestion. Daily acts of courage. Each day, do something that requires some courage. I'm not suggesting anything gigantic, anything big. If you have trouble in your marriage, don't ask for a divorce. Don't confront your boss. But think about it. If you have trouble with your marriage, think about what a problem is in your marriage. Maybe you feel like you're not getting enough attention. So you might say to your spouse, hey, I'm not sure about you. I want to run an idea by you, but I've been noticing lately, I'm feeling disappointed. I'm feeling kind of lonely. I miss you. Have you been feeling that way towards me? And see what your spouse says and start to talk about how you can take better care of each other. So daily actions, daily acts of courage, okay? So that does it for me today. I'm not sure what I'm going to do that's going to take courage today. I got to look what I got on my caseload today. I actually have a new couple that I'm a little nervous about. So I'm going to schedule them in, obviously, do my Zoom call, and I'll see how it works out. May work out, may not. But damn it, I do not want to carry another regret with me. So have your fear, do it anyway. Hope this made sense to you today. I'll see you next Monday. Bye. Get some sun. It's a beautiful day.